Hello, my name is Elena. I am a senior at Lewiston High School, and I am here with one of our nominees. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Elena. My name is Erik Anderson. I am the 7th grade assistant principal at Lewiston Middle School, the only middle school here in the city. I work with the 7th graders. We have about 350 7th graders. And basically my job is really to help kids to be successful and to help them figure out how to do what they need to do in their classes and every day when they're able to come to the school building and this year with dealing with COVID, help them to be successful in their learning that they're doing at home as well.
That's great. So more specifically, how do you think your work has changed as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah, so I think the way that I've been thinking about it and explaining it to people as I've been talking to them about it this year, that it's kind of like the old days were like driving a car. And
Right.
when you're driving a car, it can go forward or backwards or side to side. And then this year, it's a lot more like flying an airplane. And then you've got the whole other dimension of going up and down as well. So it's just gotten a lot more complicated this year with having students in the building, having students at home, and trying to keep all of our staff and students as healthy as possible.
I liked that analogy, that was great. What adjustments have you and your team had to make?
I think it's so much of it is being really, really thoughtful and deliberate about every move that we make. Everything from having students riding on the bus to how they come into the building, to what their daily schedule looks like and how they're doing their learning. Just trying to think through every piece of it to make sure that we're following the CDC guidelines. And like I said, keeping the students and the staff healthy so that we can keep education moving forward as best we can this year. Because there's so much about school that it should be fun and engaging, but we got to take care of all the other pieces so that we can make sure that stuff can happen.
Well, it seems like you guys have been succeeding. So, what have your greatest concerns and priorities been as you've adjusted your work to respond to the pandemic?
One piece of it is that we're all having to kind of think through and deal with being nervous and stressed during this time. And it's really hard to be able to do the work you need to do as a student if you're feeling that you're not totally comfortable at school.
Right.
So we've been doing a lot of work with our students individually and families, and again our teachers and staff to make sure that everybody feels comfortable being in school on the days that they're there, and also really helping them to understand what they need to do when they're doing their work online, if they're students who are in our hybrid model, or if there are students that are staying home 100% of the time, and really making sure that those kids that are home full-time still feel connected to a trusted adult that they're working with.
Yeah. So more positively, have there been any nice surprises or silver linings or things that have worked well or turned out better than expected?
Yeah. It has been incredibly energizing, the positive response that we've gotten from our families. And families have been so encouraging and appreciative of the work that we've been doing with the kids and the work that we've been doing with families. And also really the students who've been showing up every day to their classes on Google Classroom and on Zoom, and the kids that have been able to come into the building. There's just been a really positive energy to make the best of what we all agree is a difficult situation.
That's great, because I can also feel that energy at the high school.
Yeah.
So I think it's gone all the way through Lewiston Public Schools.
That's great.
So do you think that there are things that might be worth holding on to after the pandemic passes?
Yeah. It has really been a time that we've all been had a real sort of jump start into getting better with our technology. At the middle school level, we've been fortunate for many, many years, going all the way back to Governor King, to have been able to have the laptops at the middle school level. And this year, I think we've gotten just that much better at using them. and truly using them as a tool to help support education. So I don't think any of us ever would have imagined that this is sort of how we would have been doing things, but I think that this is something that we'll hold on to for a long time, being able to use that technology positively.
And I've just noticed so many of my teachers have just been like, yeah, I did the Zoom well today, I've been recording things, they're so proud of themselves, and I'm like, yay! And
Absolutely.
it's a learning experience for everyone, definitely. So finally, do you have anyone you'd like to give recognition to as an essential worker?
I think there are so many people. Education takes a whole lot of contributing adults and children to be able to make it successful. I think of all the people that I can think about, the folks that I'd really like to recognize in this conversation are our families and our parents, our grandparents, our aunt and uncles, and just our trusted loved ones who are working with our kids at home, because we, as the professional educators, have had to lean on those folks so much to be able to help the kids be successful. So I would absolutely give my big shout out to those folks who are helping our kids to do their learning remotely.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.